Ready? Welcome everybody. So excited for today's class. We got a lot to get into, but first, let me do attendance. And while I do that, you guys can give me a recap. What all did we go over last week? I know we dug deep into recursion, but give me a recap. Let me see how much you guys retained from our recursion lesson. Recap what we went over and let me know if you have any questions. While I get over here and do some housekeeping. Stephanie said that was hard. Recursion can be a little intense for sure. Alrighty, so with recursion is just basically a function that calls itself, kind of the oversimplified version, and it has different properties than a for loop. But you go, why would I use recursion over a for loop? For loop normally uses less resources in the form of memory. But there are, situations where you may want to use recursion. And I think what we did last time was like the Fibonacci sequence, that kind of thing. But there's time where you do want to use recursion. All right, any questions on recursion before we jump into today's lessons? Any questions on recursion before we hop right in? We got a lot to cover. Today's class won't be as long. Also, make sure you read the email. Due to the out of all of the courses that we teach, coding is probably the most intense, and the highest kind of dropout rate, the lowest retention rate, and the smallest class. So with that, this class, as we restructure the classes and days, it's a pretty strong chance that this class will become a strictly online class, and it will move from Mondays to a different day. So due to the low attendance of this class, it's on the hit list, not to be nixed, because we're already more than halfway through the year. But it is definitely going to be moved, probably become an online only class. Hard to justify a lot of the movement, a lot of the things that it costs to host a class in person with the low attendance. So this class is most likely going to be a completely online class, and the day will move from Mondays to a different day. So I don't know if any other classes will be moved around, but this one will very, very high likelihood it will be moved around. Okay. All righty. What happened to my background here? There we go. So yes, recursion will use normally more memory than a for loop, something you'd want to know for the test. And yes, recursion is a function that calls itself. Stephanie has her motivation. Success is not how high you have climbed, but how you make a positive difference to the world. I like it. Very, very good. And yes, for loops normally use less memories, and there's ways to test that. Like you could see how long it takes to run a program using like time.time, start and finish, and you'll see that normally for loops will finish faster, and they're just more efficient than recursion. But that doesn't mean that recursion doesn't have instances where it's used and where it's the appropriate tool to use. All right, Albert says, hope is being able to see that there is light despite all the darkness. That is it. That is a very, very good one. Hope is exactly saying, I can see the light at the end of this tunnel, even though it doesn't look too bright right now. And I like that, Albert. All righty, so go ahead and open up CodeHS. Create a new project. However, you will create this under Pygame. You will create it under Pygame. So not Python 3 like normal, but Pygame. Your homework this week is going to be to create a game. I know that was you did it officially through CodeHS, but now you're going to do create your own game out of your own mind. That's right. We are almost there, almost at the finish line. Many started, few finished. Everybody is funny. Coding has the highest sign up rate. I think everybody's like, I'm going to be a coder. Yeah. Highest sign up rate, tiniest completion rate. When people go, oh my goodness, I have to like learn this for real. Yeah. But also, I think teaching coding to adults has made me a better teacher. Also, my assumption going into this class is that adults would be easier to teach coding to than teenagers. That's what I thought. It is going to be much easier to teach adults. They're going to be focused. They're going to be locked in. And I realized that teaching adults, it isn't harder. You just have to normally move a little slower. Teenagers are, they're in high school. They're learning, their brain neuroplasticity is super elastic. They're learning every day. Their job is to learn. Their study habits are normally better than adults. Adults, I'm learning, try to wing it a lot. Where kids, they're normally locked in, which I thought would be the opposite. I've taught adults before, but never coding specifically. And the kids, they're more locked in, they're more focused. They take the assignments in the project with more vigor. They ask for less. They kind of make less excuses. Deadlines. Normally, they try to make their deadlines. So I'm learning that, hey, I need to, present things a lot slower for adults. And adults have a lot going on, right? They're running households, they're working jobs. Their job isn't to learn like a teenager's job would be. Their job is their job, and learning is normally something that they're doing to further their life. So I know I totally get it. Okay. But all that said, this is probably our last week meeting on Monday. So, and we'll probably be online. They'll be, once everything is finalized, the email will go out. I think we're trying to move. Well, the email will go out with the date and time. I think this might become a weekend class, but we'll see. All righty. So go to your Code HS. My Code HS is above me, so you'll see me looking up. Actually, let me make sure I've done attendance here. Alrighty. So go to your Code HS, and I'll walk you through it too. So let me come up to my Code HS. All right. Okay. All right. So now, just going to create you just give it a name. You could call this catch. Can you guys see my screen okay? Read it okay? I'm creating a program. Just call it catch. Catch the blocks. And I need you guys to be very vocal in the comments so that I know that you're with me, that you're here. All right. So create program. Also be quick about it because there's a delay. All right. So just to go back. Okay. I'm going to, let me see. I might make it a little bigger here. Okay. So anyway, catch the blocks. I'm going to hit create. Go to Pygame, not Python 3. Pygame, which basically does a Pygame import, which gives us additional functions, not natively in Python, specifically for gaming. It can give you this stuff. You can just delete all of that if you want. Okay. Now we're going to make a game. All right. And this is going to be a simple block game. And we're going to try to use functions and pretty much just functions. We'll do a game after this where we'll use classes, but we'll just do functions. Okay. All righty. So we're going to start with imports. Import is importing new classes, which is new tables of commands. So we're just going to do import Pygame, import random, which is a randomizer, and import system, import sys, if I can type correctly. And this is just going to be a simple catch game. We're going to initialize Pygame by going Pygame init. So we're going to call Pygame. You go, oh, there's no Pygame function. Well, we did. When we imported Pygame, all of those commands and all those functions, it's already there in the background. Just kind of like you don't have to create a function that says for loop, right? Like for I in range. You don't have to create for. It's already there. Just like when you import another set of functions like import Pygame or import random, import time, it's already there. So we're just going to initialize it. We're going to go, I want my width to equal 700. Now, what we're doing now is determining the height and width of the game. And what that means is, like when we run it over here, you know, the screen is 16 by 9, 1920 by 1080. We're saying we want the width to be 700 by 500. So we're basically shaping the size of the screen that the game will run inside of. Okay. Another game, and I've kind of played and modified some stuff, and but this will be fun. So, and you can just follow along inside of your CodeHS and just type what I type. So follow along here. So we're just going to do screen equals pygame.display.set underscore mode. So this is a command in Pygame. So we're doing Pygame dot. So anytime we're going to call a function, specifically a Pygame function, we're going to do Pygame dot, which tells it don't look at Python, look at Pygame, which is a unique set of functions, right? So Pygame dot display dot set mode. So what are we going to set the mode to? Width and height, because we did width equals 700, height equals 500. So now we're just going to set it to just that width and height. We know that we created variables width at 700 and height at 500. So boom, there you have it. All righty. Pygame dot display dot set dot underscore caption. So this is the caption that's going to display when the game loads up. Let me move that period after set. So this is what's going to display when the game loads up, and we'll just tell it Albert and Stephanie catch blocks. All right. Now we need a clock. So clock is going to equal Pygame dot time dot clock. So it's the internal clock of Pygame. Font is going to equal Pygame dot font dot sys with a capital S, font with a capital F, none 40. So that's going to be our font. And we really, and I'll show you what happens when we comment out the font. Okay. All right, colors. Now, these are specific. Well, let me show you. These are specific to not Pygame, but really Python. And you'll see what I mean in a second about how we go about these colors. All right, black equals zero, comma, 0, comma, 0. Blue equals 50, comma, 120, comma, 255. Red equals 220, comma, 60, comma, 68. Are you with me? My throat is dry. But luckily, I have a big thing of Uncle Matt's organic orange juice here. Free plug for Uncle Matt's out of the HEB, vitamin C. Thing when you teach for a living and you talk a lot, your voice has to pick up the slack. Alrighty. Yes, absolutely right. Daniel Fast. So this is all organic and Daniel Fast friendly. No crazy stuff in it. So yes, it is Daniel Fast friendly. Okay, so we got our colors, and a lot of times the stuff is written in. The reason you see 3 numbers instead of 4 is because often this stuff is written in red, green, blue. So this is the strength of each one of those from 0 to 25. Is it supposed to be time dot clock? Yes, thank you. It is supposed to be time dot clock, not time dot click. Thank you. That would have not worked. So you're absolutely right. It's supposed to be time dot clock, not time dot click. Alrighty. So we did white, black, blue, red. Now let's go ahead and do some player settings. Player settings. Should be player settings. All right, so we can do player width. And once again, this is width of your, we're going to make like, you're going to catch a block. It's going to be a rectangle and you're going to catch it. So this is player width equals 100. Player height, how tall you are. That'll equal 40. Player X equals width. Now those double forward slashes mean what? Minus player width underscore width. So what are those double forward slashes? It's not divide. So what is I'm saying? Player X width equals width, and we defined width earlier. 2 forward slashes, 2 minus player width divided by 2. So what are those 2? See if you guys remember. All right, player Y. Let me make that lowercase. Let me make this all lowercase. Player underscore Y. Equals height minus 50. It's not modulus. Someone said I can't remember. It's not modulus. Remember, modulus is the percent sign. The double forward slashes is not divide, but we are rounding. Hint, hint. Floor division. Floor. So we want what's left. What's left on the cutting room floor. All right. And player speed, player underscore speed, we'll have that equal to 8. All right, let's move on to like the falling blocks. All right, block underscore size equals 40. It's the size of the block. Block underscore X equals random dot rand int. So you will use random a lot normally in coding. So this is random, and normally anytime you call it, it's going to be random dot rand int, and it's going to be normally 2 numbers. In this case, is 0, comma width minus block size. The 2 numbers is the lowest, because you're giving it a parameter. Say, hey, I want you to pick a number from 1 to 10. So if that was the case, it'd be random.rand in parentheses 1, comma 10, right? So it knows to stay within these parameters. So in this case, we're doing random.ran int 0, comma, width minus block size. So these are the settings for the fallen blocks. Block size, block underscore x, block underscore y, going to equal 0. Then we're going to set the block speed. Block underscore speed equals 5. All right, hopefully you guys are able to keep up. I'm trying to go slow so you can type and make sure that your screen looks just like this one. All this sugar in here. I need one of those blood glucose meters. All right, score will equal 0. Normally your score on any game always is 0, and you go up from there. All right, while true. Clock dot tick 60. All right, now we're getting into we've created us, the player, and we've created the game itself. You know, if this was what is it called? Non-player character, NPC. So we got the game, and then we have us. The only two things in the game is us and the game as far as, you know, playing on the screen. So now we got to create the game itself. All we've done now is create the characters, us and them. So here we go. While true, clock dot tick is 60. All right. Now we're going to create the chaos that is the game. We're going to use a for loop. For event in pygame dot event dot get. We hadn't learned about setters and getters and setters yet, but we will. So you're gonna have to just trust me on this one because we hadn't covered getters and setters. All right, so if event dot type, but getter is literally what it means, like get this information. All right, if event dot type is the same as pygame dot quit. Pygame dot quit. All right. I don't see anybody saying slow down. Hopefully you're following along. This is going to be good muscle memory for you. And you're going to need to really have this stuff, especially as we get into test season. Remember, your PCEP test is determined. Like I'm not the one that hosts your PCEP test. The school doesn't host your PCEP test. That is a third party. So you're going to want to know this. So make sure you're using the muscle memory. I got you marked in, Francisco. All righty. So make sure you're typing this in. All right, pygame dot quit. Where are we? Where do we leave off? For event in pygame dot event dot get. If event dot type is the same as pygame dot quit, then quit. That's pretty. Kind of makes sense, right? And then we're going to just exit. So we're just going to tell it sys dot exit. So shut it down, buddy. All righty. Now we're going to come over and tab over to the left. You're going to go keys equal, and all of this is while true, right? So keys equals pygame dot key dot get underscore pressed. So that's any depressed key. All right. So there's literally the keys of the game. All right. And here we go. If keys, and here we're going to put these square brackets, not the curly brackets. If keys, pygame dot k underscore left, because we want the left key, or really the arrow to the left key to be, in fact. So great question, Albert. Albert asked, does quit need to be capitalized in both areas? And normally, yes, everything that you're calling should be capitalized. So if event.type is the same as pygame.quit, pygame.quit. In this particular instance, I believe .quit capital and .quit lowercase are in the system. So it should work either way. We'll see if we get an error, but incredible catch. You're absolutely right. And 99.9999999%, they need to be, exact. They need to match, right? Because Python is as we know, case sensitive. So capital letters aren't the same as lowercase. Those are totally two different commands. So you're absolutely right for catching that. Change that H to a Y there. Great job. Bravo Zulu. Something we'd say in the Navy, meaning just great job. All right, if key pygame.k _ left player _ x. Now here we go. We're subtracting, right? So while true, this minus equal to saying, hey, I just minus, we're going to start reducing. All right, so player _ speed. All righty. If keys hard bracket pygame. I know I keep hitting H. Pygame.k _ right. Close brackets. Player what? We're going to start adding. So we're reducing, and now we're adding. Plus equal. So now that we're adding. So that means every time it loops, it's adding. And since this is direction, what are we adding? We're adding direction. So if it is say 0 coordinate, right? If you're latitude, then you have negative numbers going down, positive numbers going up, right? So as I get stronger negatives, I'm going down, get more positives, I'm going vertical, right? In this case, it's left and right. Right, going negative number, going left, positive numbers, I'm going right. So this is directional, but it is on a loop. Remember, this is a while true, so it's looping. So if you press it once, it'll go, but if you press it 5 more times, it'll go as well. All right. If we tried to run it right now, we really wouldn't get much. But but so far, let's recap. So we're on line 52. We've imported Pygame random and system, so we can quit. We can run game functions, and we have a randomizer. We ran Pygame. We initiated it. We set the size of our screen at 700 pixels wide, 500 pixels up. So screen equals width and height. We did a caption. Albert and Stephanie catch blocks. We put in a clock. And we made a font size. We have colors here defined. And you can just go by RGB colors. And if you don't know what that is, you don't need to memorize it. You can just Google it. Player settings. So inside of this 700 by 500 rectangle, our character is 100 by 40. We have the speed as 8. And Pygame will recognize that. We have block size. These are the size of the blocks. We have them, the width randomized from 0 to width minus block size. So width 700 minus block size of 40. So they could be, they can drop anywhere from 0 to the size of the block. And the reason this is because if you don't set that parameter, you'll have blocks dropping outside of this 700 by 500 that you've set. So he's saying, I need you to stay in there. Block Y. and block speed. So just to explain this a little bit more. So if you didn't tell it minus the block size and you just said something else, you could have the block start at the edge and then it'd be off the screen, is what I'm saying. Score is 0. All right. So while true, clock dot tick 60. And now we're in our while loop, and now we're creating a for loop. So while true, so while this game is rocking, for event in pygame.event.get, if event.type equals pygame quit, so if the type is quit, then just quit and exit out the system. And now we're creating controls. So if I press the left key, go left. I press the right key, go right. And we're doing that by negative or equal to. All right. So this isn't just minus. This is saying I want to iterate by these negative numbers, or I want to iterate by positive numbers. Okay. All right. Let's move on to maybe keeping the player on screen. We talked about, so let me go up here and call this player movement. Player movement. Then let's do keep player on screen. We talked about not letting the blocks go off screen. So let's not let us go off screen, right? The player. So if player underscore X, I should have just did if player. If player underscore X is less than zero, colon, player underscore X. And this is where coding in like Anaconda or something would be so beautiful, because it would realize that you're repeating stuff and it would pop it up for you. You can just tab it and it'll automatically do it. So versus having to do so much typing. But anyway, so if player underscore X is less than 0, player underscore X is 0. So you're just at the beginning of the screen. If player underscore X is greater than 0, actually, if player underscore X is greater than width minus player width, so you got to stay on the screen, player underscore X equals width minus player width. Once again, you always want us to be on the screen. So if player underscore X is greater than width 700 minus player width, which I think we said was 40. No, which was 100. Player X width is minus player width. So we can't go off the screen. So that's what that's basically telling us. No going off the screen for you. And let's do the same for the blocks. We already did the same for the blocks up here. Sorry. So we already did the same for the blocks. So now the blocks can't go off the screen. We can't go off the screen. So now we're going to move fallen blocks. Block underscore Y. We're iterating plus equal to block underscore speed. Uh-oh. All right, so that's just how fast the blocks can fall. And we can change that. All righty. Rectangles. And I think this auto saves, but we're going to make sure and just hit that save button a couple good times. All right. All right, so now we're going to do some rectangles. And this is when you actually catch it. So this is when it falls. And I had another sandbox already prepared. So let me just show you how it works. So then that way you can kind of picture it better in your head. Oh, let me. So this is the game that we're creating, y'all. Simple, simple, simple. You hit run, you are this block, and your goal is to catch blocks. So I got 2. See, my score goes up, 3, 4, 5. All right, I got them. And I'm just hitting my left and right arrows on my keyboard. And it's very responsive. It's working. I missed one. It's actually a pretty fun game. And when you let off, it kind of slides with the momentum. I did something wrong. It looks like some of these are kind of off a little bit. They're going off the screen, so there's something I need to fix. All right. Okay, so that's the game, just to get a picture of the game. So let me stop it. So that's the game that we're making. And it seems like there's, I did something wrong because some of those blocks are a little off. But anyway. All right, so rectangles for collision. So player underscore rectangle, we'll just put rec equals pygame dot rec, open parentheses, player underscore x, comma, player underscore y, comma, player underscore width, comma, player underscore height. Okay. So my rectangle. Right. So here we go. And now I'm gonna do the blocks rectangle. Block underscore rectangle would be pygame.rec block underscore x, comma, block underscore y, comma, block underscore size, comma, block underscore size. Alrighty. And now we need to catch the block. So we need to create the collision. So here we go. So if player underscore rectangle collide rec block underscore rec. So this is a built-in function, and I'm just that collide rec is. So I'm just, which means if they run into each other, right? They touch each other. So if the player's rectangle dot collides with the block's rectangle, this is what happens. So if they touches, this is what happens, right? So for one, I'm iterating my score, right? So plus equal to 1. So now my score is going to go up by 1. Block underscore x equals random dot ran int 0, comma, width minus block underscore size. And then block, yeah. So I want to iterate by 1, my score goes up, block x random dot ran int 0 with block size, so that's my range for the random. Block underscore y equals 0. So it goes away. So if I catch it, the block goes away. and I get a point. All right, what happens if I don't catch it? And I'd be shocked if this runs on the first time and I had misspelled something. All right, so if I miss a block, let me go up here. All right, if block underscore y is greater than height. All right, so what happens if the block is greater than height? Block underscore x, and this is going to roll off the screen, equals random dot ran int 0, comma width minus block size. Minus, there we go, minus block size. Size. Then block is still going to equal 0. Block equals 0. So block is still going to disappear. Okay. Now let's draw a background. So screen dot fill black. So make the screen black. Pygame dot draw dot rectangle screen, comma blue, comma player underscore rectangle. So now my rectangle is blue. And then pygame dot draw dot rectangle screen, comma red, comma block rectangle. So the rectangle, so if we didn't put that the rectangles would still be there. They just wouldn't be visible, if I'm not mistaken. So they'd still be there. They just wouldn't have color. But now we're saying, hey, man, the screen where, make the rectangle blue for me and red for the blocks we're trying to get. All right, here we go. Let's do score underscore text. So this is our score. So font dot render score. So we're doing a little F string. We're going to do the wiggly curly brackets. We're just going to say score. Okay, because we've already defined score, right? Has an insert on. There we go. C-O-R-E. Score. Then true. White. Close curly brackets. All right. All right. Screen. Line 65. Yes. So player underscore rectangle, they're asking about why does it repeat block size? Pygame dot rectangle. So player X, player Y, player width, player height. So player X equals width rounded floor division 2, player width floor division 2. Player Y underscore Y. So it's X-axis, Y-axis is what it is. So X-axis for player, width, Y-axis, height. Block size is 40. And they're really how we kind of define width and height for the player. We didn't really define that. So here we're just going block X, block Y, and then we're just gonna use block size twice. And what do we have block size? Block size equals 40. Block X, we kind of got random height because the blocks are gonna be different sizes. So the block X axis is gonna be random. If that makes sense. Looking for your questions. Okay. All right. We're gonna move on. So here, just to reiterate it, you have your width position and height position. So it's using the same number for the width position and the height position. Let's come back over here and run it. And if you notice here, they're all, I mean, I need to make this smaller again. Uh-oh. It left off my, there we go. So if you notice, they're all squares. See, I'm not a square. Well, square is a rectangle, but a rectangle isn't a square, right? So I am a rectangle that is not square. However, all of the blocks are squares. So because all of the blocks are squares and don't need a separate height versus a separate width, we just use the same height and we use the same width. So basically, we just made them square. All right, let's go ahead and take a quick break. 5-minute breaks, give you guys some brain time. Alrighty, so we're gonna hop back on in. So we understand now why block size is repeated twice here, because we're making squares. Okay. So now we're telling it to, hey, we need to draw some stuff. Okay. So now we're actually creating the visuals of the game. Okay. So let's go ahead and break down the visuals. We told it what it needed to do if it collided with something. We get a point, right? So if player rectangle, my rectangle, your rectangle collides with a block, then we get a point, and the block goes away, right? Block underscore y equals 0, right? And it goes away. Okay. If we miss a block, it just continues on the path and eventually goes to 0. So, all right, we got screen text that displays our score. And next we're going to do screen.blit, which once again is our score text. So score underscore text. Comma, open parentheses, 20, comma, 20. So that's our screen. And now we're just going to go pygame.display.update. So it's going to continuously update. So while true, it's going to run this and updates every second. So that's going to create the illusion of motion. It's going to update our score. It's going to erase blocks off of the screen. All right. It's highly unlikely I didn't fat finger something and mistype something or forget to close some brackets somewhere or do something wrong. But we're going to run it and we'll let it still tell us what I'm jacked up and we'll go back and fix it. All right, here we go. Syntax error, unterminated string literal detected at 83. So let's scroll down to 83 and yep, sure enough, it was waiting for something to be terminated. Let me see, screen underscore text font dot render f score I can actually just erase this. Because these are two different, it did them wrong, and I press, and it does it like that. When I press it here, it does it a totally different way. Okay. It was just doing that automatically. I tried to fix that earlier, but it did not want to do it. All right, so hopefully that fixed it. All right, let's see. Syntax error was never used. What line? 15. Font equal pygame. Sys.font none. Let's see. What is it saying that I jacked up with the fonts here? Oh. Reopen the curly the parentheses. I should have just been closing them. All right, let's see what the next error is. All right, here it says player underscore width is not defined. Line 26. Did we not define player width? Yep. Oh, I did caps. I'm like, what in the world? So yeah. So let me just copy that player underscore width. It's lowercase. I put caps here. There we go. All right. Aren't we happy that we have these systems that'll tell you, oh, you can't, oh, it's frozen. So, all right, let me restart capture. All right, there we go. So we're just going through these errors here. So I'm hitting run and just going through and debugging some stuff. So it's saying on line 27, name error, name height is not defined. So all I'm doing, guys, is just going through and reading my error log and just correcting those errors. So you have to know how to do this when you're coding. Before, you'd have to just go line by line and just dig stuff out. You know, I remember days when you didn't have these these helpful little error logs. But it's saying, hey, I have a problem on line 27. It's even telling me the line. It makes it so easy. It says name height is not defined on line 27. So I just go to line 27. And it says player underscore y equals height minus 50. I did height up here, all caps. But height right here is lowercase. So remember, those are two separate things. So I need to hit paste or just make it uppercase because I created two different variables. Remember, they're case sensitive. All righty, so I'm just running. I'm just catching the errors. It says type error descriptor tick for pygame.time.clock. Object doesn't apply to a int object. So it's saying line 39, clock.tick.60. It's saying descriptor tick for pygame.time.clock. Object doesn't apply to an object. I don't remember making. Let me go back up here. Oh, let's see. Make sure that I didn't. It's saying tick doesn't apply to an object, but I'm like, I don't remember. Let's see. I have time.clock here. Did I make it caps up here? No, I didn't. All right, I'm glad you guys get to see debugging in real time. This is literally how it works. You just go through and say, hey, what's going on? What did I miss? What needs to be corrected? What needs to be fixed? So this is lowercase clock here. And on 39, clock dot tick. See, I won't apply to an integer. Oh. Yeah, it's saying, all right, so what it was telling me was that this ticking feature applies to a function, basically not an object. And I'm like, what in the world? So I left off the parentheses here. So clock equals pygame.time.clock. The parentheses means that it calls this function from Pygame. It calls this function from Pygame. If I leave it off, it's saying that clock is this versus it's calling this. So remember, if I'm just putting the equal sign, it'd just be like white equals 255. Like it's saying this is equal it, and I'm not calling it. So now it's saying I'm calling that function pygame.time.clock, and I'm calling it as clock. Okay. So hopefully that fixed it. Let's see. right, so let me stop it. Let me run it. See what happens. Name key is not defined. Did you mean keys? Probably. Let's go to 49. If key. Yep, yeah, I did mean keys. You're absolutely right. All right, so stop it. Let's run it again. Oh, I think we cured all the errors. All right, so let's stop it here. Let's hit run. See if it works. All right. It's working a little bit. Not completely. Very, very laggy. And it just... All right, let's try that again. Run. All righty, so it is very, very laggy. I'm hitting the button. And it's only dropping the one rectangle. I'm not repeating. So let's go through and see. Let's go reevaluate our code. See what's going on here. So obviously our initiation works. Our block colors work. Blue, squares are red. Our scoreboard works. But it is very, very laggy. And it's not going to the, for one, it's only going to the left. It is not going to the right. So our right key is not working. And it's only dropping one red box. So we're going to walk through it all. So we initiated Pygame, width of the game, 700 height of the game, screen, we set the width and the height, caption, clock, font, player settings, block and player speed, block speed. So our right is not working. So we know that we need to look at that. And we are not getting more than one block. So let's see. For events in Pygame.event get. Let's go look at our controls for the player movement. If keys Pygame.k left, going left, player underscore speed. If keys Pygame.k right, player x plus or equal to player underscore speed. Okay, so let's try that again. For some reason, our right and left aren't working. And I don't know why. Left works fine, right not so much. However, on my game earlier, Pygame is far from flawless. Yep, my right and my left works perfectly. So let's go back through here. Keys equals Pygame.key.gets depressed. So if keys Pygame.k underscore left, so key left, minus equal to player speed, player underscore x plus equal to players underscore speed. So that should work. Let me see what I'm missing. Oh, I know what I'm missing. this if statement should be here. So if I'm going left, go left. If I'm going right, go right. Instead, I put that if statement, I nested it under left. So it's basically saying if I go left and press right at the same time, that's funny. So let me see if that actually does work. If I actually press go left and press them both at the same time. Yeah, if I press them both at the same time, it doesn't do anything because it's trying to go left and right simultaneously. That is funny. So what I had done accidentally is I nested go right under go left. Did y'all see that? Uh-oh, did it freeze on you guys again? Let me just do, I think display capture works better. There we go. Hopefully it won't freeze now. So I didn't have, so let's run it. See if right and left works. So now right and left works. All right, so we have another problem. Problem is the block movement, the blocks is creating. Yeah, this should absolutely work on you guys' end. I've already generated a copy. I copied the copy generated into a CodeHS, and CodeHS runs it just fine. Okay. So, and I did generate another game that I modified, and it runs as well. It runs fine as well. All right. So let's go through this. We got colors, player settings, falling blocks, events, player movement. Move falling blocks, rectangles for collision, catch blocks, missed blocks. All right, so let's see what did we miss here. All righty, so we got the left right going. But we should have more falling blocks than we do. And I need to find out why it is only giving us all right, let's run this again. It is generating without error. Okay, it's generating without error. However, it is just terminating. The blocks are working. Why are my blocks? So let me stop it here. Let me review the code that I pasted, copy and pasted over earlier. All right, it looks like everything is roughly the same. Or not roughly the same. Looks like it's exactly the same. Let me make sure that I didn't nest something by accident. I am known to do that. No. Doesn't look like I did. So we're trying to troubleshoot, guys, why it's only doing one block. All right, it looks, I'm reviewing everything, including my line 70 here. All right. If you have an issue with the font line, go ahead and, well, I guess ask the issue. What's the issue going on with the font line? If you have a question, guys, just ask the question and I can answer it. Versus saying I have a question, just ask the question. Just move a little quicker that way. And let me come down here and under catch block underscore x equals random dot ran int 0 with minus block underscore size. All right, it looks like it is identical, exactly the same. So I'm not sure why this one is working. I don't know if I have too many sessions open and that's keeping it from working. Yeah, it looks like it's identical. And it's not giving an error like something's wrong. It's just not generating the rest of those blocks. All right, but here it is working Totally fine as designed. Let me know if you guys are having any issues with yours. If you're having an error, give me what the error is telling you. So yeah, this is how it's supposed to work. Okay. All right. So Albert saying pygame.font object is not callable. So make sure you didn't leave off the parentheses like I did. So font equals pygame.font.sys, capital S, font, capital F, none 40. So you're just picking a font. Matter of fact, I meant to tell you what would happen. I just copied it in the comments. The line. Oh, it's still freezing. I thought, okay. That's crazy. Alrighty. So hopefully sorry for that freeze there. Alrighty. So if you have any other questions, go ahead and drop them in. So this one is working. Like I said, the one from earlier, it's working just fine here. And it's the exact same. So I don't know if I just have too many CodeHS Pygame sessions open. But this one is dropping at random intervals, just like we told it to. Scoreboard's working. Matter of fact, I'm going to stop it and I'm going to comment out the font. And you'll see, I'm going to just comment out font and I'm just tell it to run. Okay, name error, font is not defined. Did you mean float? Okay, so where did I call on font? So we're going to find all the places I called on font. Line 88. Cortex equals font.render. I'm testing out a different way to remove the font completely. Because it should default to just whatever built-in font. All right, that's awesome. Al says he's rolling through it. He's debugging. So let's try this. Score underscore equals score underscore text equals text underscore style dot render. Keep the rest the same. See if that works. It might not work. No. Yep, it's going to make you use font because it wants to turn it into an image. Yep. Yep, you got to use font. I was trying to just make it default to a font, and it doesn't want to default to a font. Let me know if yours are working. Yeah, don't worry about the ALSA error that's down here. All this stuff, you can just bypass that stuff. Don't worry about that. This is, I think all of this stuff is just because it's running in Code.hs. I doubt you'd be having, like, that'll be reviewing, like, or be showing if you're running it in Anaconda or some dedicated system. All right, who else has theirs rocking? Or who else has a question? All right, so let's go and see what Albert's having the same problem I was having where the blocks would just fall once. So we'll go line by line here. All right, so let's go line by line. Let's make sure you have import game, import random, import sys. You don't have to worry about any of this stuff. Import pygame, import random, import sys. That's what's gonna when you use system quit. That's gonna work right there. Pygame.init. That's going to activate Pygame. Then you're going to have width equals 700. Height equals 500. So that's going to define your rectangle. Screen equals Pygame dot display dot set underscore mode, and width, which is 700, or invalid syntax. So go back to line 58, whatever your line 58 is, and it'll give you more than just invalid syntax. But if not, just look at your line 58 and see what you're missing, because your line 58 is probably not my line 58 here. But just go and look at, see what you're missing. Are you missing a colon, a comma, parentheses, what have you? And we're going to literally walk through. So your screen, you set your screen size, pygame.display, you got your caption, in this case, catch the falling block. Your clock, lowercase c, is pygame.time.clock. Make sure you put those parentheses there. So it shows to activate that function. Font equals pygame.font sysfont 040. You're defining the fonts. And then your colors, red, green, blue, all 100% red, 100% green, 100% blue produces white light. White light has all of the colors. Black has none of the colors, no red, no green, or blue. So 000 is black. Maxed out 255, 255, 255 is white. And then you can make a combination of those to mix up different colors. Player width, which is my little blue box, 100. So I'm wide, 100 pixels wide, 20 pixels tall. All right, player underscore X width. I'm going to do floor division. So I'm going to get what's left here. That's of the 700. Y, once again, of the 500. Minus 50 would be 450, right? My speed is just 8. So just telling to move my pixels at 8. Block size, 40. So 40 pixels. And we're going to do hiding a little bit. We'll do block size later on. So block underscore X is random. I ran int 0, comma width minus block size. So we're just going to do random X positions and block Y positions are going to start at 0. So start them at the top, but they can drop at any point on this axis. So all of them are going to start with 0 here, but they're going to fall from any position. And their speed is going to be 5. So I can move at 8. I can move faster than they can, than they're falling. Score 0. So we're going to start at 0. So while true, clock dot tick 60. So clock is ticking. All right, events. For event in pygame.event.get. So now we're capturing information. If event.type is the same as quit, and then exit the system. Player movement, keys, pygame.key.get underscore pressed. So this is whatever key is depressed. If I'm hitting the left key, negative minus or equal to, so iterate to the left, negative my longitude. If I hit the right key, iterate to the right, positive longitude. Right. All right. If player underscore X is less than 0, then it's 0. So stop. Same thing with right. Player X greater than the width of player minus the width of the screen. So that means if I'm at the edge of the screen, so if I am 100 blocks, if 100 minus where I am is the width, then I got to stop. So width 700 minus my width, which I think is 100. Yeah, 100. So that's the edge of my screen as far as I can push it. Block underscore Y iterates by the block speed, and the block speed is 8. Excuse me, block speed is 5. Right. Okay. My rectangle is going to be pygame.rectangle. So it already knows how to make rectangles. Pygame is pretty much a rectangular base gaming creation platform. So my X and my X position, my rectangle is going to have my X position, Y position, my width, and my height. So that's me. The blocks are going to have their X position, Y position, and then they're going to be squares. So block size. Their height and width, they're just going to be squares, 40 by 40. 40 pixels by 40 pixels. All right, if they collide, player underscore rec.collide. So if player rectangle, my rectangle, collides with the blocks rectangle, then give me 1 point. Score iterates by 1. Then block X disappears. Block Y, 0. All right, miss block X random, block Y. All right, so if block Y is less than the height, and that's just a miss blocks, then keep on rolling. So fill the screen with black so that it's just basically not transparent. Create my blue rectangle, or my rectangle is going to be blue. The blocks are going to be red. Scores are going to start at 0, but it's going to iterate. It's green dot blitz score underscore text 20 by 20. So that's here. And then pygame.display.update. So continuously update. That's what makes the blocks look like they're moving. And then the falling is iterated too. Block underscore y plus equals block speed. So block underscore y starts at 0. Block speed equals 5. So it's going to move by 5 pixels. So while true. So this is looping by 5 pixels. So we're going to start at 0 and loop by 5 pixels. All right. So did that fix the problem? I'm going to copy this. I'm going to throw it in the comments so you can. I was going to throw it in the comments so you could see it, but like, no, you cannot throw this in the comments. Alrighty, so instead I will just share this. Public. I'll just copy this, and this will be good for a little bit. There you go. All right, so that should allow you to click on it, play the game, and then compare it to what you have. All righty. Any questions? Then you'll probably, so Albert says when he press keys, it just shows random gibberish at the bottom of the screen. So it's probably because he's not clicked into the game. So if I just click down here, I just start pressing keys, this is going to, because that's what I'm clicked on. However, if I click on the game, now I'd be in the game. So I need to make sure that my mouse is clicked on the game so that I'm actually in the game. But that was a really great question. Make sure you're clicked in the game. All right, any more questions? Anybody else with anything? All right, Albert says that worked. So I pasted a link to this one that is dropping all of them, and hit stop. That is dropping all of the boxes as it should, so you can compare its code to your code. just going back and comparing the working code with, let's see if I can see what we may have done wrong here. There we go. All right, so now I have them back to back. So now we can kind of compare. Let's see, 83, 86. Probably just made some extra spaces. So try to make the numbers line up just to make it simpler. I'll pull this over just so I can make sure. And if you guys see something that I don't, feel free to yell it out. It's interactive learning here. All right. All right, Albert says he got his working. He was just missing an underscore Y. All right, now we're going to our while true. On line 35 here. All right, looks like they are the same. Doesn't look like we are missing anything. Which would make sense, because if we were, it would be given an error. All right. So it looks like we're in there. All right, looks like we had a little internet fluctuation. All righty. I'm getting feedback from Albert a lot. How is everyone else doing? All right, my wife is watching. She said red last number is different. Player height is different. Is player height different? Let's see. Player underscore Y equals height minus 50. I'm not sure what she means by the red last number is different. Okay. Or player height is minus 50. I think that's the same. Let's double check. Player height underscore Y height is height minus 50. So I think player height is the same. Alrighty. I guess she saw something I didn't see. Albert says he saw it too. I don't see. What are you guys are seeing? Where are you guys seeing this number difference? And hopefully, I told my wife just to comment, and she's like, I don't want to disturb you, so she's texting me, which is much more disturbing. But where are you guys seeing the under player height and width were different earlier? Player height, player width 100, player height is 40. Okay, there we go. Player width 100, player height is 20. So yeah, we just made it the height not as big on this one. So yeah, we just looks like we just made it half the size. So it just won't be as wide, or excuse me, it'll be equally as wide, 100 pixels, but it won't be as tall. So this one is, let me click on it, that tall. And if we make it 40, should be double the height. Good catch, y'all. No, it won't make a bit of difference, but outside of, it's just a fatter block. The block is not fasting. Oh, she said something with the color red equals 220, 60, 68. Over here, red is 220, 60, 60 versus 60, 68. Yeah, just makes it a slightly different color red. So yeah, no, great. You guys have great eyes. Great catch, my lovely wife. Great catch, guys. But yeah, insignificant differences. It just means one block I made a little bigger than the other, and one shade of red is just going to be a little bit different than another shade of red. But yeah, you barely will notice the difference. But no, you're absolutely right. This was a different shade of red, and the height was different. So great job. Kudos, kudos, kudos. So now the shades of red and the height are the same. Like I say, insignificant differences, but sometimes differences like that are not insignificant at all. That could have been something super significant outside of just height and color. So yeah, little changes, little variations can make a big difference and cause a program to fail. So yeah, so everything else is the, unless there's anything else you guys caught, they're exactly the same. So not sure why this is only running once. I'm sure somebody will look back on this video and be like, oh, you missed a comma somewhere or something. I don't know. But the version I just sent to you guys in the comments is this version right here. And it's working perfectly. I think I maybe just have too many instances of the program running. Alrighty. Oh, let me check my while true statement. Yep, while true. Yep. So yeah, I was thinking, oh, maybe my while true isn't looping, but it would have to loop for the even one block to move. So yeah, I think I maybe just have too many instances running. Alrighty. Albert says his are dropping in the same place. Alrighty, so make sure you got your randomizer on, guys. So remember, so go to where you randomize your blocks, falling blocks, settings, and make sure it's block underscore X equals random dot rand int 0 comma width, the width of the block or the width of your screen minus the block size. So make sure you have your block positioning random. If not, it will drop in the same place. So let's do, we're going to hashtag that out. Let's just make it 250. So let's stop it. And now you just see it dropping in the same place. Oh no. It's not dropping in the same place. It tricked me. Yeah, it's still randomizing. Let me try that again. That is cool. I'm giving it a definite point. And it is still randomizing. And I thought maybe it was just randomizing up to 250, but it's still randomizing all over the entire screen. No, we're not using Python 3. We're using Pygame. So when you create it, yeah, we talked about that at the very, very beginning of class. So do not use Python 3. Use Pygame because we need to initiate Pygame. All right, move falling blocks, block underscore Y plus equal block speed. So let me hashtag that out. And I can move, block does not move at all, which is what I would expect. Collision, catch the block, miss the block, draw everything. Yeah, I am not sure why that block moved, even with block X. Commented out. So let me do this just because I like to experiment. And I'm going to try to purposely get it to even with the randomizer off or set to the same coordinate, it is still randomizing the place of the block. Still work. All righty. But it is still randomizing. Even with me purposely trying to make it not. All right. Any other questions? The last part is wrong. All right. If someone said it's telling you the last part is wrong, that does not help. Help me troubleshoot. Player underscore X equals width minus player height. What is the error that is giving you? Give me the specific error that is giving you. Oh yeah. So player width is is lowercase. Player underscore X equals width minus player underscore width. The second width is lowercase. Very good, Francisco. Falling block, settings block, 40, random, 0 blocks. I'm on a mission to make player with the blocks fall in the same place. I'm trying to recreate Albert's issue. Al, I cannot recreate your issue. There we go. All right. Took a while, but I had to recreate your. I finally was able to recreate your issue. So I had to make them fall in the exact same spot. I had to de-randomize the initial falling block, which I thought would have just done it the first place, but it did not. I had to go back down to catch block, which, remember, this is a wild truth, so it's a loop, right? So I had to go back down here to catch block and tell it to, every time it refreshed, to not randomize either, right? And then I did the same thing with miss block, even though I think if I didn't randomize miss block, it should still fall in the same place. Nope. Every instantiation had to be de-randomized. Make sure, let's see, what if I did catch block? All right, so catch block did not need to be de-randomized, but miss block needed to be de-randomized, and fallen block. So let's actually just de-randomize miss block and see if that'll still work. Nope. So yeah, so fallen block, it had to be de-randomized, and then miss block needed to be de-randomized as well, for it to recreate that, just falling in the same place. All righty. So did I put everything back? Miss block, catch block, block position. Okay. That was a cool little thought experiment. Thanks, Albert. Oh, y'all couldn't even see it. It froze again. You could not see me triumph over the frozen screen. So I was just saying, I put right here for miss block, I changed that to 250, commented out everything else, and I did the same thing for catch block and for falling blocks. I just put in a place on the screen, and it just would fall right there. All right. Line 67. I jacked something up. What did I do? Oh, I commented out to 250. So now 250, comment out everything else. And now it is just going to fall at the exact same place. So if I want to just rack up ultimate points, I can just put my block there, and just every time it falls, I'm just racking up points, right? But I got it to fall in the same place. So I'm just undo all of those. So catch block, miss block, and block. So now it's back to running like normal. All right, awesome. All right. And if you guys ask a question that I don't see it, ask it again. There's a lag between what I see you guys saying and when you say it and how you say it. So don't get mad at me if I'm like, hey, I didn't see something. It's because I didn't see it. So, and it'll come like 30 seconds later, or it's out of order of the way you posted it. So don't get too mad at me if I don't see something, if I don't catch something that in context. Just politely post it again, please. Catching up on the comments. Okay, so if you okay, so make sure. So if I was to click down here and type, I'm gonna get all of this crazy jibber jabber. But if I was to go to the game, my mouse turns into an X. And when I click the X on the screen, now I'm in the game. So now my blue mouse is moving and all that other stuff. But if I was to click down here, I get jibber jabber. If I was to click over here, now I'm coding. So I want to make sure I go in here and so I go in here, wait for my mouse to turn to an X, click that X, and now I'm in the game. EA Sports. Get in the game. Alrighty. So hopefully that helps. Alrighty. What questions do we have? I don't know why my screen keeps Alrighty. So if yours isn't doing that, go ahead and hit stop. Stop. And hopefully when you created your game, you created it with Pygame and not Python 3. If you did, just copy your code into Pygame. So go ahead and hit stop. Hit run. You should see an X. Let me do it again because for some reason the screen keeps freezing. So hit stop, then hit run. You'll see the X right here. Click that, and you should be good to go. And if you want to get creative, you can start changing the colors if you want. So how I did 60 on one, 68 on another. How about we change this red to, how do we make, I said we wanted it to be, red, green. What happens if we add more green and blue? Or we just add more blue? What happens when you add more blue to red? What color is that? Pink. That's what we were going for, pink. So here's our pink. Or if we wanted to, we can make it more orange, right? Take out some red. Maybe add in some more green. Let's add in some more green. You can just play around with it. So we're kind of getting there. Kind of getting orangey. Maybe take out a little blue. Yeah, we're getting orangey, tanny. We're getting a little more orange. Anyway, you can play with it. You can play with the shapes and sizes. You can play with the block speed. You know, your speed. Instead of getting 1 point, you could iterate by 2 or 3. Get 3 points. Get 3.5 points. Make it a float. All right. Boom, 3.5 points. And we're getting faster. Getting harder. So you can play around with it. All right. So yeah, definitely use that. I sent over a link. Can everybody see actually this file that I'm playing in right now? Can everyone see that? Let me know if you can, when you click on it, if you can see that. All right. Make sure if you can see it, go compare what you have with what I have. And that should help you. All right. So we're going to take a quick brain break and we'll be back. All right. I'll take a quick brain break, bathroom break, ice cream break, unless you're fasting like us. In that case, it'll be an orange juice break. And we'll be back. All righty. So we're back. So do we have any questions? Any questions? I'm going to just leave it open, the chat open for questions. We're going to wrap up at 9 tonight. The other game is more detailed, and we just don't have time for it. We'll have to pick it up next time. But it's cool. I have it up here as well. Oh, where is it? I think I just called it game. And I had it, I tried to put both games in the same, but I didn't feel like doing that. So this is the game we just did, and this is the other game. I tried to put them in the same program, but I didn't have time. I could have just made my main.py like choose game, and then you could choose which game you wanted to play, and that would execute. And actually, we should do that next time. So you could create multiple games. So here's our catch game right here, and this is another program, and then this is the game right here, which let me just rename main.py. And what I could have done was just hit, file. Well, one is catch.p1. I could have done a file, dodge.py. And then I could have just had the main screen pop up, like Pygame in it with height. I could have created a function that would have given me an option to choose which game I went into, whether it been catch.py or dodge.py. And I think I might play with that and code that out and actually play with that. These are just games I copied and pasted. But I think I might just build that as a new game. But anyway, so here's the other game. Dodge the blocks. Click over here, press space bar, and then it's just here. You're just dodging the blocks. And I slowed the speed down because it was way too fast. Because they had the speed just like super high, and I just went and I just slowed the speed down because I just thought it was too fast and it was hard for me to dodge the blocks. I forget where the speed was. Where was the speed? Here we're using classes, so you get to see all of the init functions. Anyway, wherever the speed was when I was writing this up, I changed it because the blocks were just like flying. There was just no way to dodge them. They were just moving way too quick. So I just slowed it down. So anyway, this is the game that we're going to be doing next. And we're going to be playing around with classes. So creating a class and building off of a class. All right. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed my game. Hopefully your game worked, Steph. Stephanie, if you share your code with me, like I shared mine with you, I can help you troubleshoot. All right, so this looks like a lot of code, but it's not. If I would have showed y'all the other code to begin with, y'all would have been like, the game we just did, I'd be like, oh, that's a lot of code. And it's really not. It's only 83 lines of code. So that's like nothing. And this one is only 234 lines of code, which is also like nothing. But I really like this one because it gives us classes. So I can create a class player. So, with height, x-axis, y-axis, speed, my rectangle. Look at it. It's all right here. So neat, y'all. Isn't this beautiful? Where over here, it's simple, but it's sloppy. Not sloppy. That's the wrong way to put it. But it's simple, but I like the neatness of a class. Like here, I'm having to go, all right, player on screen, right? I'm having to create my player color or my player rectangle, my player color. I would never do it like this. Because think about it, you get a bunch of lines of code and I'm just going hunting for stuff. I'm going hunting for my player settings. And then down here, I'm hunting for my player rectangle, my player color. So like, I'm just going hunting for my stuff. Here in classes, nope, no hunting. In my class player, my width, my height, my speed, my rectangle, look, just everything that pertains to me right there. How I move, left, right, my speed, everything that pertains to me right there. Where I'm at on the screen, everything that pertains to me right there. My color, everything that pertains to me. So I'm not going to hunt around for my stuff. It's just beautiful. And then if I have multiple players, maybe I want them to have different things, and I don't have to go hunt for that stuff. The enemy or, the ones dropping, their size, which is random, their position, which is random, their speed, which is random, their rectangles, which are going to be random. Well, nope, rectangles are not random. Well, they are because the X and Y axes are random and then their size is random. So their stuff is random. It updates. Boom. Y-axis goes with the speed, left and right. So all of the enemy or the red boxes, all of its stuff is right there. Coin. All right. So we're going to make a function called coin or a class called coin, right? And it is in every class, but here, you just put it in it. It's in every class, whether you define it or not, don't matter. And boom. There we go. Relocate, draw. Everything there. Show start screen. It's just classes a baller. They're classes are where you want to be. But anyway, we don't have time for that today. So we will have to do it next week. But it's everywhere you want to be. Doing it this other way is okay, but it's just, I just don't like it. I really, really don't like it. Because it's just it's too everywhere. I love it. It works. It's cool. Recursion versus for loops, right? But I do like the organization of a class. This is easier. You just kind of label, and you just wind up with a million labels. But this is easier, in a way. But classes are great. And then look at this. Main is basically your run, right? Main is basically just your run, and you run it all. Now, we will probably we won't use main, because what we'll start doing is creating like those Nintendo games. Nintendo, you get those old emulators, and it's like, do you want to play this game? Well, you can select this game or this game or this game. And it's the old emulators. It's like 15 games in one game. That's what we should create. I'm just thinking about this now, but we should create that, and we can just create all of these different games, and then we have main.py, which will run, right? Main. and then we'll be able to choose which other game we want to run and be able to call that function. So anyway, any questions? Exactly. It works it out like groups, Albert. Absolutely. Yes, classes are just great. They're more set, they're more condensed. And then I can, like, especially for player games, they work really great, right? Because I can say I'm blonde hair, blue eyes, I'm 8 feet tall, I am this, da 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 da, right? And then I can go create another player, right? And they have all your unique stuff. And when I want to modify them, I can. When I modify me, I can. And then all of my stuff is under me. For example, with classes, if I wanted to just, where are we? Where did it go? All right, with classes, I know everything that pertains to me is under that class, and I can modify it somewhere else, right? But everything that pertains to me is in that class. I don't ever have to worry about chasing something down. Like, remember how we just had to, this is a great example, how we had to figure out why the blocks weren't falling in one specific place. And then we're like, all right, maybe it is here under the miss blocks randomization. Maybe it's under catch blocks. Maybe it's under, where was the other one? Under falling blocks, right? If we had a class that just said blocks, we wouldn't have to go hunt through the code for it. It would just say blocks. And we can just go to the class called blocks and we know what's going on, right? So I like that. I like maybe the organization in me just loves it to be organized. But anyway, all right, any other questions? Once again, this is probably our last Monday class. And because our class is the coding class was the most signed up for, I think, out of all of them, but also the highest drop rate because it is this stuff that we're going over. I don't think people were ready for it. So because it's so small, we're most likely, it's a highly, highly, high likelihood that it is going to be strictly an online class. And the day is going to move from Monday, most likely, to another day of the week, and just be online. So it might be a weekend class, like a Saturday class, and just online. So look out for the email for that. I know an email went out last week as we were pondering the schedule for the class, or for all of the classes. But as we were going through, this class is kind of almost a for sure bet because it is so small. Alrighty. If you didn't get the email, make sure it's not in your spam folder. Just Google, our Griffin School of Excellence. Make sure it's not in your spam folder. Make sure that you're receiving the emails from the school. So make sure it's not in your spam folder. It goes out to they're not sent out individually. They're sent out to all of the students. So if you did not receive one, make sure it didn't go to your spam folder. And 2, make sure that your email that you're signed up with for the school is the one you're checking. I know there are some students that had like 3 and 4 emails and they didn't know which one was the one that they logged in for school. So whatever email you're logging in for class with into the GSE app, make sure that that's the email that you're checking, and just do a search for the name of the school. Make sure that it is on your approved sender list. And if you reply to that email, I think it automatically puts you on the approved sender list because you're interacting with it. So hopefully that fixes the problem. If that doesn't, just let me know and we can change out your email to a new email or something like that. I think that's the only thing that we could do is give you whatever email you have because once it goes out, it's going to that email. So then it's just a matter of finding that email or making sure that we're on your approved senders list. If that's not working, we can update your email to a different email. Okay. All right. Fantastic. All right. Any other questions? I'll send out a message in Spaces tomorrow for those that are in AI for Business. That's a larger class, so I'm not sure if that'll be affected at all. But I will send out a message to let them know if we're online or not. That might go online. They might also be moved as well. We'll see. All right. But that'll go out tomorrow. Now, any other questions? All righty. Well, God bless you guys. This has been, hopefully, it's been a fun class for me. Hopefully it's been a fun class for you. Now you have a game. You know how to make games using Pygame. This is our very first time using Pygame. But there's so much more in there, guys. There's not just Pygame. Let me go to Sandbox. There is, we don't use Python, but Tkinter, Python Tkinter, which is a whole nother thing like. So instead of using Pygame, you use Tkinter, which is how you build out graphics. That's Python 3 for data science. I did Tkinter last year. But when you take your PCEP exam to get certified, Tkinter is not on it. So I dropped Tkinter for this year just because it's great to be able to build out graphics. Like Tkinter allows you to build out full game sets, like what you see. I mean, it's pretty awesome, the stuff that Tkinter allows you to do. However, it's not on your certification. So we dropped it this year to do more stuff that is on your certification, like recursion. So we're going to go more into recursion and more stuff that you're going to be testing on when you go get your cert. Okay. So, but there's still a lot more fun stuff to get into. So keep your eyes and ears open because we're going to learn a lot of really, really cool stuff, y'all. Hopefully you're enjoying the classes. I know for coders, this stuff is great. Hopefully you got a coding heart. If you're still here at this point, you're pretty locked in because we're getting into stuff that isn't day one stuff, that isn't just input, be able to put in your name stuff. So if you're still here, you're pretty locked in. So hopefully this is fun for you. I'll try to also find more just games for us to build out games and stuff to play with. And before we have to start doing like really, really heavy, PCEP practice stuff. Okay. All righty. So God bless you guys. And I'll see you guys next week. Practice the game. Make sure you're caught up with your homework as I'm going back into grading season. So I'm about to start doing all of your work. Hopefully you have done all of your videos that you were supposed to do and tagged me in it. If you couldn't find me to tag them, just drop the URL. Hopefully that stuff is done. It is not fun trying to play catch up. All right. So hopefully everything is caught up with you. If not, make sure that it gets caught up pretty quickly, like ASAP, so that you keep your grades up and you're not scrambling or not doing well. Okay. All right. Awesome. God bless you. And I will see you guys next week.